me the Pledge of Allegiance?
I was going to say no. No chair button.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Okay, Dave put down the gauntlet last meeting, and I guess it was 27 minutes, and I'm trying to figure out how he pulled that off, but
27 and a half, just to be safe.
but thank you, Dave, for covering for me. Okay, first thing is approve the agenda. Does anyone have any questions, additions, changes to the agenda? If not, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Second by Dave Brusick. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, the agenda is approved. Ken, I assume you're going to take the first thing on the update of the
I will.
the log cabin and building it.
Yep. So we had the park board on their annual tour on May 10th, meet out at the cabin. We had Dennis Dvorak there, Dave Gerald, Marv Deutsch, and Steve Bruckman, and took a look at where the proposed building that Dennis had talked about at the last council meeting, to kind of get a visual on that. They mentioned also during our site visit that the Historical Society was looking into a grant from the Carl and Verna Schmidt Foundation that could potentially pay for at least portions of this new accessory building. But really what the discussion ended up leading into was potentially also some rehabilitation of the existing cabin in the park. Noted that the city has no full review of the maintenance and repairs that might be needed to keep that cabin operating into the future. And was also noted at the park board meeting about a year ago, I had looked into seeing if that cabin building would be eligible for a Historical Society grant. Turns out it is not eligible because it's not on the National Historic Register, nor can it be because it was not originally built on that location, and it was not constructed with the same roof and everything that it had originally. So it's not eligible for that, but they did lead us in the direction to say that if we ever were looking at restoring it, there's a couple of companies that they recommend from a historic preservation type situation. And I'd actually made contact with a couple of the companies. Only one showed any interest, and that's the company, I've got some of the paperwork in here, out of Wisconsin, that would charge $450 for a consultation fee. And basically, they would take a look and see if any significant work would need to be done to the cabin, if any of the logs need to be addressed as far as replacement or, anything of that sort. So we just have never had that done to the building. Talked to Glenn Stika and Jim Caligeri, and they also agreed that probably should have a full review of that building done. It's essentially been in the park for a number of years without any significant work to it. We put a roof on it, wooden shake roof, within the past 10 years, and that's really the only thing that's been done of any significance. So Park Board ultimately made a recommendation at their meeting to continue to work with the Historical Society to work on plans for that storage building, but then also to making Park Board funds available from the Park Board budget in the amount of $450 to hire this consultant to take a look at the cabin. And it was noted that the $450 consulting fee was not identified in the Park Board budget. We should have enough budget leeway to cover that cost by the end of the year. Really what could be the wild card there would be the Settlers Park bidding project, but that'll be awarded here in early June. But regardless, it's not that big of a dollar amount, and will give us a much better picture of the status of the building. The big concern on that building is really the lower row of logs and the water that's been splashing up on them over years. It's looking a bit rotted on that bottom row of logs, so we just want to kind of know where the building stands and hire this company per staff recommendation and the Park Board recommendation, that Edmonds and Company that does log home restorations for the $450 amount. It is noted too is if there were to be a grant from this foundation that the Historical Society is looking at potentially applying for, obviously in consultation with the Park Board and the Council, is that if they were to do any maintenance work, that fee ends up being waived in their contract work. So Ultimately, the recommendation is to expend that money from the park board budget and see where we're at with that building.
So with this evaluation being done, and obviously getting the cost of the new thing, do this grant money, is there a limit on how much you can get? Or-
Steve Bruckman's helping Dennis Dvorak with the Historical Society grant application, which has obviously come before you guys before that gets too far along. And they basically need an estimate for that grant. I don't know specifically. I don't think they're really clear on exactly what the limit might be. I know they had a dollar amount in mind what they would look for the accessory building, but not so much this particular building. They just thought, if we're going to apply for some money, might as well see if we can get the kind of both buildings taken care of at one time. So I don't know if there's a limit. I don't believe there's any match whatsoever. It's just basically a request that can be made. So I don't know. There was mention of this company. I sent some photos to them, and they thought, a full renovation, and we don't know if that's needed, could be upwards of $30,000 for a building. So if a grant could cover that, great. I don't think that the city's looking at putting any money like that into it. So I think it's worthwhile to at least provide the assessment, and it'll at least help see where we're at with the building, and then give a better estimate for the grant application. But it's kind of just an unknown. Steve was struggling with it and saying, I don't know what to apply for, and nobody on our staff knows enough about log buildings to even know what we should be doing to the building.
Is there a time limit on when this grant application has to be in?
It's kind of
Okay.
a rolling application. It's literally a form you have to type in the application. It's about a one-page thing and very old school, not high-tech at all.
Okay.
But they do have money available.
So Ken, when you had that building downtown, the one portion burnt, I believe, or
Yes.
it got knocked down or whatever
Yep.
it was, I think, didn't you check on that for historical purpose, something on that? And I think the landing has knowledgeable people on these log homes.
They do, yeah.
I'm wondering if they can be any resource. I think
They might be able to. I don't think they're so much in the restoration business as in kind of more documenting what buildings were used for and finding potential reuse for logs. I know with that they were maybe interested in obtaining some logs to,
got it.
know, repair things,
I
but
was wondering if they would be a resource for you.
I could certainly call them and find out.
Only if
but-
you need to, but
Yeah.
just-
No, that's a good idea.
Okay.
The Historical Society of Minnesota did highly recommend this particular company, and they have a whole slideshow on their website about other historic cabins that are very similar to the one in the park, and kind of amazing what they can do. So they have a pretty good handle on that, and state just said they're, recommending as far as they've had projects done before, so.
Yeah.
So we're hoping for the grant, but even if we don't get that, we at least want the $450 in the budget to look and evaluate the cabin and what needs to be done.
I'll make a motion that we approve the $450.
Okay, I'll second that. A motion by Sean Ryan to approve hiring this Edmonds and Company for $450 to do an assessment on the building in the park, and seconded by Chuck Nickolay. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes 5-0. Good. Okay, next item. Ken, are you taking that also?
I will.
No wonder you're the only staff person here. It's all about Ken all day.
I think it was at the last council meeting, we had a number of park board requests, maybe it was a meeting before, for special events in Memorial Park, and we have another one here tonight. The Little Chicago Band is looking to have an open band rehearsal at Shelter Number 2, which is right by the ballroom in Memorial Park. The reason it requires park board and council review is because of the live amplified music. They want this to be an event from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Sunday, September 11th. We have, again, we treat Sundays like a weeknight, and the 9 p.m. end time has been our typical end time for that due to, people want kind of quiet time after that time of the day on a Sunday. So they expect maybe 50 to 100 people to show up and watch their rehearsal at some point. It's really preparing them for Dojinki Days the following weekend. So Park Board's recommendation was to unanimously recommend the event, subject to your approval. And we have standard conditions that cover everything from their insurance certificate to ceasing music by 9 p.m., which will actually be done by 8:30, and then do cleanup for that last half hour. They've already sent in the park reservation fee, and we'll go around and notify adjacent property owners 1 week prior to the event. So staff does recommend the council's concurrence to approve the special event, as noted.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to accept their, their use permit.
Okay, we got a motion by Jenna Tuma,
Second.
second by Dave Brusick to permit the use of the band shelter and have amplified music in the park on September 11th. If there's any other comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay. Passes 5-0. Next, release of property from developers agreement.
All right. We have a request from the State Bank of New Prague as a property owner selling property for a yet-to-be determined project. Probably eventually have something come in front of the council with details on that, but we haven't seen anything at this point, so can't provide any more details. A lot of people have been asking. But they are selling Lot 3, Block 2, directly south of the State Bank. This is located in Prague Estates First Edition. It was subject to a developer's agreement, which every plat we have is subject to a developer's agreement. Everything that was addressed in that developer's agreement, from paying hookup fees to park dedication fees, road construction, et cetera, that was required under that development agreement has been taken care of. In the case of this particular land sale, the buyer had a title company do an opinion, and they would like the city to release the property from the agreement. We have not done one of these in my 12 years with the city of New Prague. Normally, if it's been X number of years and there's nothing left to be done with the developer's agreement, the title companies don't care, but in this one, they simply would like it noted that, yes, it no longer applies, so they're looking for a release from the developer's agreement. So Scott Riggs actually drafted the attachment, which is titled "The Release of Property from Developer's Agreement." Basically notes the original developers, and then simply notes that all the property within what was then platted as Prague Estates First Edition, which would be on the back page, and I highlighted in yellow the property being sold in question here, pushing the issue. And this simply would release all the original properties from the agreement, which it really has no valid reason for existing any further. So would look for your approval of that release as drafted by Scott Riggs. That's on second and third pages of the packet.
Do you or Scott have an opinion why the title company would require that when you just said that most of them do not? I mean,
Yeah, it's basically just creates a cleaner title for them. Same thing kind of existed, which was peculiar for the last meeting. We had that release of the conditional use permit for the old Econo Foods building and that can recycling.
Mm-hmm.
It's really of no harm to anybody. It just basically cleans up the title so they don't have another exception on. They put together a big list of things that they noted and found in the title work. And it's just another document they don't have to refer to as being, something on that chain of history on the property. It's not unusual. We just haven't had one in New Prague.
Okay.
It's a safety valve protection that the property that this entity is looking at buying from the bank bought it from the owners of the development originally. As Ken alluded to, all of the requirements contained in the developer's agreement have been addressed or taken care of, but without getting a release from the city stating that those items have all been resolved or taken care of, from a title standpoint, you're trying to make sure that there isn't some abilities to come from somewhere down the title chain to come back and say, I got you, that this wasn't complied with, and now that you're the new owner of the property, you have to comply with some requirements that are further up the title chain. So they're just trying to protect and ensure that there are no past obligations associated with a development agreement that they would ever be exposed to.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I just wanted to make sure that the city was still protected on the original plan of the,
Very much.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, everything's
All right, that's all I needed was your,
done and over with it.
yep,
Which
okay.
is why we go through the city attorney to do these kind of things. We just don't bring it in and do it on our own that way, that we don't, not to ensure that there aren't any legal.
So Ken, excuse me, why doesn't this property comply with all the other plats on the original development agreement? I mean, this is another piece of property there. Don't we have requirements to that also? Why doesn't it fit?
Say that again?
What I'm asking is, why doesn't this piece of property or any of the other outlots that are listed here?
This is not an outlot.
Oh, okay, that,
It's block 2.
Outlot B was platted to the south, Dave, as the Pierre Horton Townhome Development at a later date, and that was actually subject to a different developer's agreement further down the road. We've had 11 editions of Prague Estates in total.
Right.
This was the first one of this one, so. There was a number of things in this first agreement that ended up, some park dedication was actually put off from this first edition agreement to the third edition, I believe in this case. So there actually was open obligations until third edition plat was satisfied. That took care of it. So I had actually a lot of background work I had to do to make sure that everything was taken care of. But yeah, all the acceptances on the public improvements, et cetera, has all been done.
okay.
So that won't change that road going through there when that's built on, right?
Not at all. That actually, the developer's agreement for Prague First did not address any sort of road going towards the east. That is actually partially constructed as you see it today. That's actually a stipulation of what will be the conditional use permit review of that property. And then there's another developer's agreement with the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church that once the road gets to their building, then they extend it to their east property line. There's a long
Then
history.
it'll still stop at the house that's there between
It'll still
Walgreens and
stop,
Holy
right.
Trinity.
Right, until that develops. Or if the city would want to condemn the property at that point.
And then
Which
who
is-
would be responsible for the payment to put that through street through,
Well, then there's the next lot is the one that was donated to the
Sheriff's posse.
posse group. So
Sheriff's
there's,
Youth, I think.
Yeah.
Was
Yep.
the organization, yeah.
Yep, and once that's platted, that's still an outlot, then they would be required to put in the right-of-way and install the road there. Quite a history, Sean, on the road. This
Yeah.
particular property predates me. I think it was shortly after this plat went in, and there were a number of meetings from what I've read as to why or why not there was a road platted through this property, rather than what it ended up being, which is a roadway easement. And the roadway easement does exist today. It's just that the stipulation on this property was part of the State Bank of New Prague's conditional use permit to have that extended when this property develops. So it kind of got rolled into another land use approval later on. But there was quite a bit of consternation among different property owners at that time as to that being a public dedicated road at that point versus how it turned out.
Well, I guess the reason I ask that is if that road goes through and forces Holy Trinity to build that route, because the state wants that access to 19 closed, right?
Yeah, per the developer's agreement with the state, with the Holy Trinity, that access would go away.
On 19.
On
So
19.
then they'd come out the back way
Correct.
and then out onto 10th.
Correct.
Unless it went all the way through, then they'd have an option to go either right to 10th or take a
Yep.
left to
Exactly.
Chalupski.
Yep.
But because that residential property and/or the back of the Walgreens property were not part of any of those negotiated agreements, they still exist separately and independently, and we have no abilities to require them at this stage of the game to.
Not an ideal situation by any means, but
No.
that's kind of how it played out.
Well, I'm just thinking after church service, and then everybody has to file out out on the 10th Street, southeast there. That's a busy road. Anyways, they'll only have that one access.
Different than
but-
going out on the state highway now.
Well, that's true. All right.
Any other questions?
I just have one question, but it doesn't really pertain to this action. What is that zoned?
This particular property that's for sale is actually zoned RH High Density Residential.
Okay.
Which actually is the same zoning as the D.R. Horton Townhomes directly to the south.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I guess I'll make a motion to release the property from the developer's agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Amy Jurek. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, passes 5-0. Next on the agenda, I thought Dave would have had this all taken care of already, but
I got overruled.
That's how they set the record.
you just set the record, you got overruled. No, that's fine. This again is something that was discussed, I think we started discussion in February. And I know Mike had someone make some phone calls to some other public facilities, and it looks like it's kind of a 50-50 type deal where, some courses do not allow discounts or allow discounts for their golf workers but not city employees and vice versa. So there's really a wide range of options that have been brought up. The reason why I'm kind of in favor of offering a discount rather than, because I've talked to 2 or 3 people, and right now that rather than play at New Prague, they're going to Montgomery and Creeks Bend because it's a little cheaper. And I'm looking at it, I said, we're letting revenue leave the golf course. If we could offer our city employees a discount of some sort, golf workers or city employees, I think they would support the course because obviously they're looking at a dollar and cents decision. And that's something that I thought, and I know Jenna has talked about the wellness side of it, but that's kind of the reason why I thought it's something that should be addressed. I don't believe that free memberships is probably the way to go, but I think there should be some kind of a discount so that would entice people to use the New Prague Golf Course rather than spend their money at other facilities. So that's kind of my take on the reason why I think it's something that, we should consider. But again, that's just my opinion.
Are you going to go, Amy? Or you want? Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not in favor of it. It's a difference between a public course and a private course. It's public tax dollars that are supporting it. And I think to the members that pay their fair due, their share, they don't need an incentive to become a member. We need to honor our members, and so I don't think the employees need an incentive if our members are already paying their dues. And by state, it's for city employees as being a public employee, I can't expect any other things that a regular resident does not get.
I thought the information was interesting that you put together, so thanks, Mike and staff, for it. I guess what I'd like to see where my point on where it would go is to bundle it with a wellness program of maybe having a statement about a wellness option for the staff and include this in it, and if it's a discount or some sort. But I'd also just like to have it be some kind of an incentive for people to be active, to get out. And again, I kind of go to, on the other side with the customer service component, is if staff are able to go and use the course. I would even put the outdoor pool as an option for a discount. I think they're just more knowledgeable and a little more engaged in what we're offering and what we're being able to provide customer service to. So I'm fine with it not being free. I like what you're going with, Chuck, is kind of the idea that maybe it's a little more discounted.
I would approve something like this, but only if it's part of a wellness program as described by the handout that was given to us by the staff. If you're going to do that, then it would be applicable to all city employees, but it would be part of then our benefit package. And that would mean we'd have to look at the cost of it. Does it comply with the rules under the law? And how much is it going to cost the city taxpayers to fund it? So I know that this has always been a benefit for the city staff. But because of the rules, I think under whatever rule it was, it's in their packet here. I think that I'm not in favor of it the way it's described by either you or Chuck. I think only it would be appropriate if it's part of a wellness program. Then that would require that we put together some sort of a wellness package that's applicable to all city employees, including the golf course employees.
So part-time?
Well,
Well, you really only have part-time except for 2 people at the golf course.
yeah,
Or you're talking,
I'm looking at,
because the
essentially
part-time people don't have a
full-time
benefit
employees.
package.
No, they don't. And that the wellness program wouldn't include part-timers either, as I see it, unless you want to make it that way, but I don't see that as part of a benefit package.
But they don't receive insurance.
Right. There's no benefit package
No,
per se
correct.
for any part-time employees.
I think it's a wonderful idea, don't get me wrong, but unless we do it for the whole city staff, employees, then I don't think it's a good idea.
My feeling is that I do like it as far as a wellness program. I think the city, the last 2 cycles now, Mike, if I'm not mistaken, we've seen some pretty significant reductions in our health insurance costs for the city workers. Is that correct?
Slight reduction, and have held our own. We've had pretty good health insurance rates.
You're right. A slight reduction or held our own in the face of, in a lot of companies, double-digit increases. So I think that is a benefit to the, and whether or not we can make the leap with either swimming pool or golf as a direct benefit of to the workers, as far as if that's the reason that our health insurance rates have remained low. Whether or not you can make that leap, I don't know, but I think overall, I think if we can keep our city staff engaged in either in both when the swimming pool's online and or the golf course facility, I think is a good thing. And I think that actually has the potential to save the taxpayers money through a wellness program and keeping those insurance rates low like we've had for the last couple of years. I would like to see whether it's a discount or a free membership for them to get out and walk. I don't think we'd have to give them discounted cart fees and things like that. But if they wanted to go out and use that at non-peak times when they're not taking revenue from the course for people that want to pay and come down and visit and golf that course, I'd be fine with it. But they would be the secondary, have to be some stipulations there on when they could use it and to ensure that they don't take revenue from.
When you're looking at benefit package like that, our rates for insurance have gone down even without having a package. Full-time staff does have health insurance, and when you start looking at benefit packages, then it opens up a whole compensation study. Because when you start changing the benefits too, compensation can change too. I think they have good benefits as they are. I just don't believe it should be done with taxpayer dollars.
The insurance offer a reimbursement for the fitness center. Is that part of the,
Yeah, we've got it if they partake 12 times a month, there's a $20 discount, up to 2 of those per family.
so that could be, if a wellness statement got developed, that could be included in
Well, but
there. It's already
that's
there.
already offered under the insurance package through Blue Cross Blue Shield, that any one of the 3 fitness workout centers that we have, if somebody has a family membership that you can, and you use it up to 12 times, you get a $20 or $40 per family discount already. It's nothing we have to offer specifically, it's part of the package.
Right, it's part of Blue Cross's package.
I do think there is some value, though, working on a golf course. There is just some value to have your frontline staff be able to play the course. At some point to be, I mean, again, a lot of times they don't want to, but I do think there's some value on being able to have them be able to talk shop with our customers. I think that provides some service. And so if we don't go to a free membership for all staff, I do think we should consider something for the staff at the golf course, that they get 2 free rounds or something, or 3 free rounds, some kind of a punch card or something to be able to allow them to get beyond either the mower or the front desk and answering phone calls to be able to talk the details. It's just my experience working in operations that I think it's a value.
I don't really believe that it costs the taxpayers money, in the sense that if we limit it to the times that are available and not being utilized by revenue generating persons, many people aren't going to golf by themselves. They're going to bring a friend or 2 or 3 that will pay. They can talk them into it. Hopefully they're buying bottled water and maybe a sandwich after a round and putting revenue in the club that way. I just don't think it really costs the taxpayer. And then if you add in the wellness factor of it and the potential savings, I don't know why we'd have to do another compensation study with it. We just got out of one, and just don't see. It seems like a win-win. We get more people out on the course, potentially bring their friends in or family members who are paying that they normally wouldn't pay, or they might go somewhere else, and if it can be demonstrated that it's part of a wellness package and it can save us some money on our insurance, or potentially save us money on insurance by keeping our workers active and engaged, I think I don't see where it really costs the taxpayers money.
I just don't like the fact that they're going elsewhere and spending money on golf when I think we have a better product right here than Montgomery or Creeks Bend. And but again, it's all dollars and cents. And if someone can save $2 or $5 to go play at Montgomery, they're willing to drive. And I've had people tell me that's what they're doing. And so that's the thing that kind of bothers me is we have a facility here, and again, actually, it's a way to actually increase revenue rather than cost the taxpayer money. Because if you can get the revenue that is being spent outward to come inside, then you're gaining on the bottom line. Because obviously, we all know the fixed cost is there. Maintain the course. If there's 5 people that play or 100 people that play that day, you still have that same cost to cut the greens, mow the things, man the shop and everything. So it's almost like a fixed cost sitting there. And how much more revenue you can generate by getting people to the course is how you can improve the bottom line.
But it sounds like then there's something else that needs to be reviewed with the fee schedule or something. Because the members that are paying find a value with it, and those that aren't are going elsewhere, there must be another issue. But that there are people that are paying the membership and enjoy it. I don't see where reducing a membership to someone else is going to increase. We need to be loyal to our members that are already members and paying their share.
I think though, Amy, when you have a membership, somebody's like thinking they can golf 3 to 4 times a week to be able to benefit from that membership. And I don't think a city employee is using it that much. I think in the notes it said a few times they use it throughout the season. So I think that's why they wouldn't be buying a membership, because it's not as
So so is there something else we need to look at, like
punch card or something?
But have it at a fee that's similar to all the other fees? Or have a,
Well, I mean, obviously, every year when we set the green fee rates, those rates are comparable. But you got to remember, when you're dealing with Creeks Bend and Montgomery, those are private courses, and they can charge whatever. When someone walks in, they can charge them whatever they want. We're kind of not under that. We really don't have that kind of guidance. I mean, we have some programs. We have Groupon and some of those things that people can do online to get discounts to play at New Prague, but that's open to everybody. But again, it's just to me, it's just when it's kind of like when I see revenue go out the door, I just feel there's got to be a way to recapture it. Now, the stipulation that someone has to be an employee of the golf course or the city, kind of at least gives us some ground rules that it's part of a benefit of working for the city, rather than just, if you're going to lower it across the board, now you're going to have to increase your rounds to recapture what you lowered. And I don't think that's, we're really not in that position right now to do that. I think we need to be competitive. By the published rates, we are competitive with Montgomery and Creeks Bend. But again, if someone calls and say, hey, I got a couple people coming over, most of the time, I'm sure Brian will say, hey, I'll give you a discount on cart or something so that they come to Creeks Bend versus New Prague. So, that's the tough thing. I understand both sides, but my opinion is I just don't like seeing revenue being spent at other courses when we have an opportunity to keep it here in town.
Well, Amy, I think too that, the benefit, I do see where you're coming from, but if you look at the people that are paying for that membership, they want a specific tee time typically, or in a range of tee times. I know, Chuck, you golf every Saturday at, what's your standing tee time?
7:30.
7:30, and that's the value of having a membership, that you can make it. The city employees would not be able to do that. I mean, they would have to call up, find out when there was wide range. They would be, I think the rules were in place even before that, they could be bumped if a group of 4 came in and the city employee wanted to golf for free, and somebody else wanted that tee time, or was in it started to fill up, that they have to wait, or they have to play after 3:30. those rules can be developed, and I think that's where the value of having a membership is, that you don't have those restrictions, is kind of my feeling.
But I can also go as a non-member and golf anytime I want to. I just have to make that reservation.
Right.
Right.
And we do that as a family.
Right.
We don't have a full-time membership, but we golf.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
And
Right, to Sean's point, the real advantage of having membership is I can make a tee time 2 weeks in advance, where public can make it a week in advance. So obviously, the members, and I think Jenna, you kind of mentioned it too, is most people look at it and say, okay, here's my membership, how many rounds am I going to pay? And to say, am I willing to pay, if I paid once a week, I'd probably be paying more than if I went green fee. Now, I play twice a week and sometimes other, but also the added benefit of a member, I can go over there and at the end of the day and play 3 holes if I want. There's that luxury, I'm a member, I don't have to pay, so I can go and play 3 holes at 7:30 at night just to work on my game and then come home. Where someone who's a green fee is going to say, well, you got a twilight thing, you can play till it's dark. It depends on how many holes they can get in. So, I don't see going back to where we're offering a membership. But I think, in my mind, if we had some kind of a discount to get these people to play at New Prague, I think that'd be great, because I think Sean kind of hit it on the head too. Most people, after they're done golfing, they'll go up and have a beer, a pop, just to talk. And it's, very nice setting up there now, what they've done with the new carpeting up there and things like that. And the view, I think it's very conducive for people to chat. But again, I understand both sides. And again, I don't care which way we go, but I just feel comfortable, or feel that we should try to make sure that we can help the revenue stream of the golf course.
I talked to people within the last month that are on both sides of the fence. One is an employee, another is a paying resident of New Prague. The paying resident said, well, if you let all the city employees in there and play, you're adding people onto the course. That is going to cost the city money to do so. And I tend to agree if there's a lot more. If you have, as you mentioned, Chuck, you have 5 people on the course or 100 people on the course, there's a big difference there as to how much use the course has and how much damage it gets. So you do have to send your employees out to repair damage if you allow more people to use the course free of charge. In that respect, the person that I talked to is correct. You are going to have to raise their fees in order to pay for more maintenance of the course. Now, is there going to be enough of city employees that are going to play enough holes that it's going to make a difference? I doubt it. But the perception is, by the residents that are paying full price, that by letting people get in free of charge, or even with a discount, it's going to cost them something.
But just as an aside, when you offered or provided under the personnel policy a free single membership to employees, you had between 10 and 12 employees out of about 48 employees that took advantage of that. 10 or 12 people per se are not going to do any kind of significant damage that's going to cause any kind of cost increase that other members of the plain public are going to have to pay. So when you take a look at that and offering any kind of discount, you were dealing with such small numbers even when you offered a full membership for a single paying patron. So
Mike, I understand that, but the general public does not.
Well, I'm just trying to
as a
tell you that
rule.
we had all of 10 to 12 employees out of 48. So when you take a look at that, it's pretty nominal on the numbers that were even playing when you offered that benefit, which isn't even what you're talking about or discussing at the present time.
But see, my thing is that point that you have to repair the course if there's 100 person versus 200 people, it doesn't make sense. Because you really, the maintenance on a golf course isn't for repair. The maintenance on the golf course is to cut the greens every day, cut the fairways, cut the tee boxes and that stuff. And you're going to do that if you have one person or if you have 500 people that play that day. And with the requirement that you have to wear soft spikes nowadays, there isn't the damage done to greens, and so there really isn't any additional people or maintenance based on how many people play the course in a day. The maintenance has to be done if, like I said, if 5 people play or 100 people play. And so the perception, if someone thinks that because you have more people playing, you know, the only thing that would happen is you have more people playing is a round may take a little longer if there's more people out there. But and Jenna probably knows, and if you ever look at a tee sheet on the weekend, you pretty much can play after 1:30 at the Ridges, at New Prague, Montgomery, Creeks Bend, LeSueur Country Club, because those are the times that people are not playing golf. People want to play golf on Saturday morning, on Sunday mornings, and then a lot of people like to come later in the day. But in the heat of the day, there's no one out there. So to get people out there is always a plus. I know, I don't know if New Prague does, but I know Ridges does it. If you bring a child out there under a certain age of 15 or something, they play free if you pay a green fee. You know, they want to get people out there. I mean, that's part of the lure of the golf. You want to get people out on the course. And like Mike's saying, if we only had 8 or 10 people, that's not going to change the maintenance. Even if we had every employee play every weekend, that would not change the maintenance. You know, you're only talking 47 people. You know, that's what, 11, 12 tee times? That's not a lot of tee times in a day.
So your idea of, of if we offer this and more revenue comes in, but we're only talking 8 or 10 people, that's not really going to increase the revenue either. That's not going to solve to me, that's another problem, another issue we have to talk about, that they don't go together. There's something else that's, if we want to talk about increasing revenue, that's something separate.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know about you, but if you saw a $20 bill sitting on the floor, you'd pick it up, or would you not? Because that's what you're talking about. If you're offering someone a discount, instead of paying $29 or $33, you're letting them pay for $20. That's $20 that the golf course didn't have before.
But dealing between the public, a private course and the public course is the problem, because, like you said, the private can do what they want. Our members, if they get upset about something, they can go to a private course.
Well,
they don't have to golf here. I think we need to work with our members, too, to keep them, because they're the ones that increase and keep our revenue going.
And the reason why we have members like we do is because of the great rates that we have. They can't go to LeSueur. They're going to pay more if they go play at LeSueur Country Club, who's a country club. Montgomery, I don't even know if they even offer members. Ridges doesn't offer memberships. You know, and Valley View is one prime example that had memberships, and then they changed it to revenue or green fee basis only, and couldn't survive. It is a very competitive industry, the golf industry is. You know, to look at worrying about where our members look at, there's some that don't really care what their number is, but most members rationalize how much rounds of golf they play, divided what they think, and if they think that's equitable, then that's all you have to worry about. If you go and you raise your rates too much and things like that, and all of a sudden someone looks at it and says, geez, I'm paying $55 a round because last year I only played 26 rounds. Someone's going to say, well, it'd be stupid for me not to just have a green fee. You know, you know, I'm not worried that something like this would create an issue to our members, because most of the people that are members probably don't even know who city employees are. And most of the city employees that I know probably don't play on the Saturday and Sunday mornings. A lot of the city employees that I'm aware of will play the Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoons, or they play in the evenings. So to look at it and say that you're causing animosity amongst your members, I don't see that at all, because they're going to look at it, and if the number is 10 or 12 people, they're going to go, that's fine.
Let's send this back to the golf board. Let's have them come up with a program, whether it's free for city employees or it's 50% off greens fees, if it's after 1:30, if it's after 3:30. I mean, we got 5 people here, then we're all over the board on what we want to do. Let's just get a proposal from the golf board. That's what they're there for, as an advisory committee. Let them talk to their, let them talk to the members, and come up with a proposal that they can live with also, that they feel is going to benefit the golf club. And then they can come back to us with it in a nice, neat little bow. Because I'm tired of talking about it, really. I mean, we've kicked this around for 4
It really,
meetings.
in all honesty, isn't a golf board issue. It's an employer incentive
Right.
tool that you're making available to the employees. You're not talking about levels of participation that you're going to be able to specifically identify that's going to create some significant revenue base. If you looked at the makeup of the 10 or 12 people that we had play, in a number of cases, a number of those individuals played but 1 or 2 times a year in total, or just as I think some of you have described, they played periodically and brought some friends or out-of-town guests to come and to play the local course, but they didn't play in the same role that an active member would play. So
Right.
when you start looking at that, is that you're really trying to look at what do you want to make available as part of the overall benefit package, that because we own the course, you can allow them some discount or whatever. You don't have to pay for something to some other course where it's cash out of pocket. There is no cash expenditure to do whatever you're going to do.
Right.
You can perceive it as, if it's something less than 100% of a green fee, you can perceive that as lost revenues. Well, if they didn't play in the first place, you wouldn't have gotten anything anyway. So if you give them some level off what you're paying now at a green fee or something, you're getting something more than you might have gotten if they had gone somewhere else. And the potential exists, as the mayor indicated, they might buy some food or other beverage or bring some other people with them. You're not talking, even if you try to create it under something with the wellness, there's not a lot we're going to be able to document that we can say and attribute that these few individuals played the golf course under this wellness program, that it materially benefited our health insurance or anything else.
Right, I got that.
So we're
Right.
really trying to create and spin off doing something that really is not really measurable to the point that you can specifically count on it either as additional added revenue or that's significantly going to materially impact our health insurance program.
Right, and I understand that, Mike. What I want to do is I want somebody to make a proposal then that's going to say it's 50% off, and then we'll see if we got the votes for it. And if it's 50% off greens fees, if it's 50% off cart fees, if there's stipulations that they can't golf after 1:30 or they don't take any tee times that we can actually have paying members use. What are those restrictions? Because right now we're all over the board with it, and that's where I'm getting frustrated with it. So I understand you're not going to be able
So
to.
you want the staff to put something together, or you want it to go back to the golf board?
I don't care if it's a staff or the golf board, or if somebody here makes a recommendation for this right now.
But until this discussion occurred tonight, what direction was there to try to attempt to do that?
There wasn't. That's why I said it
It's-
might be nice to have the people at the golf board, maybe Jenna can take that back, the golf board, they're an advisory committee, come up with some type of program, not looking at, I don't expect them to tell me that we're going to save money on insurance and that we're going to generate this much revenue. I just want them to put together something that says, city employees can golf for 50% off or 75% off or free or whatever it is after 1:30, because those are the time, or at any time that the tee times are open the day of or 2 hours before or whatever, just so we're not taking revenue from the course when people are driving down here and want to just pop in, like Amy's family, when they want to go and they decide on a Saturday, it's a beautiful Saturday, they're all going to go. I don't want an employee to have a tee time that that's golfing for free and we just cost us 4 people that want to golf on a Saturday. But, I mean, we're all over the board here. All I want to do is narrow the focus and either say yes or no. And I think we got 3 people that are looking for something, whether it's part of a wellness program, maybe 4, that's either whether it's part of a wellness program or some type of reduced fee. Somebody make the proposal, or let's send it to the golf board or somebody, or staff, and put together a package, and then we can vote it up or down, because right now we're all over.
Well, I can tell you one thing, the golf board doesn't care.
Okay.
I've talked to Tommy Mock and that, and they're like, well, that's not our decision. That's your decision.
Okay,
Because
right.
it's dealing with your employees.
Right, but they're an advisory board, so I thought it might be nice. I tell you what, I'll make a motion right now that it's 50% off for city workers, city employees, and that the tee times, what would be the right way to put it? The tee times aren't taking revenue or
Non-peak.
non-peak with golf management approval. How about that? They can golf at 50% off. That good?
So you're talking just full-time employees, part-time employees?
Just talking city employees. They can get 50% off. They're all part of I don't think again, to your point, we were
Well,
trying to generate revenue, so whether they're part-time employees or they're,
So you're saying anyone who gets a paycheck from the city?
yes. Yes,
So
the city
including-
employee.
So anyone on this council could get 50% off? You're including that also?
Yeah, if that's, yes, we are a city
I
employee.
just wanted, to,
Well, this is why we're all over the board, so I don't care where,
and do you include the
That's
fire
my-
department?
No, they're not city employees, in my opinion.
That's the
I would
thing.
include the fire department. I think they are city employees. They get a check from the city.
No, they don't. Not considered full-time employees.
They're not considered full-time employees, yes, I
But
understand
I
that.
think that we're arguing about what we're going to give. I think we're off track because of, a year ago, we went through this and it was a legal issue. The issue was, are these employees then going to be taxed because this is a benefit that they're getting, but we're not charging them for it? So according to the information we got at the time, which was part by Scott Riggs, given by Scott, that we are in violation of Minnesota Statute 15.46. Something I meant to give to you that I got from the League of Minnesota Cities, from Amber Eisenschenk, says there are 2 ways in which you can give something to city employees. One is through a wellness program, as was indicated by the memorandum we got from staff. The second is that, in a more common way, is to provide this tax-free benefit as a no additional cost service. Now, this is more commonly offered to just golf course employees rather than all city employees. They don't extend it to city employees. Therefore, Mike, Ken, Mary Jo would not be eligible. Only the people that work for the golf course. I think that all the discussion we've had tonight is wonderful, but we aren't hitting the issue. And the issue is what Mike passed out in our handout. I think, yes, it's wonderful to give them employees, as we have always done until last year, but we're not doing it for the right reasons.
So I think,
I'm
oops,
sorry.
go ahead.
The only other thing, and I know it was brought up before, is we do this, it also opens up the can of worm for the pool, too.
Right.
So it's not just a golf course issue. It's all employees and companies encompassing.
Is it though, or would we have to do a separate,
I don't think the two are related.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Just
and
because
well-
you do one doesn't mean you have to do the other.
Right. And right here, Dave, here's one right now, Wild Marsh Golf Course, City of Buffalo. All employees receive free golf. Okay? Chaska Town Course, employees, this is city staff, not just golf staff, city staff, employees, but pay resident rates, whether they're regular rates, and employees pay regular rates whether they are a resident or non-resident, but they're city staff. So there is,
Well, I'm not arguing that a lot of cities don't do different things. Amber Eisenschenk said the same thing in her note to me, and I'll pass that on to everybody here. I should have done it before, and I just forgot about it until tonight. But at any rate,
Well, I think that the issue that a couple years ago when we changed it was the value was the problem. We were giving people more than a $600 value, which then creates an IRS issue.
But why are we giving them a pass? Why can't we just give them golf?
What do you mean?
You know, we're giving, the value is the pass.
We're giving them a membership,
Yeah.
and that's what we did. And so when someone used it, they say, well, I'm thinking it.
So let's not give them the pass.
Well,
Let's
no,
just
no,
give
I-
them free golf.
No, that's
Or
right.
discounted
Before.
golf.
Discounted golf is different.
than
And-
a free membership.
Don't give
That's
them the
the problem.
membership.
The free
That's the value.
membership was over $600, and
Right.
that's what came into
And
it.
that's where we got in trouble.
Now we're talking about whether it's 50% off or whatever.
You know, and she's saying it at no value, added expense, right? Well, that's why I'm saying that there is no added expense if you add 5 more people on the golf course, there's no more added expense. You're still paying the person at the pro shop. You're still paying the guys who maintain the course all through the day. Those additional 5 people do not add any additional expense to the golf course.
I won't argue that point with you, Chuck.
And that's one of the 2 reasons there. She's saying if you
Well,
give something.
there's more to it than this,
Right.
than just that. In her comment, she says it's more commonly done for employees of the golf course, not the city. That lops out a lot of people that right now would like to or are using
I
our
have a
golf course.
Question, we have, what, 100 and some employees?
50, 49,
7, I think.
40,
isn't it?
but if we talk about all departments,
40.
47,
But why-
49.
I'm confused why we're spending all this time if only 8 or 10 want them, and it's not an entire employee package. And I'm still not in favor of it. I haven't had any employees come to me. I've had a lot of golf members come to me and complain about it. But I haven't had any employees come and ask for it. So I'm just wondering, where's it coming from?
Few employees, I'm assuming. I had one.
Yeah, I've had employees ask when they were going to change things.
So is it worth it, though, to all the employees? Because so one employee wants an increase in, where do we draw the line with equality with employees?
That was my point to bring up the pool, outdoor pool pass, is to allow them to have access to that at the same discount or whatever the benefit is, because not everybody plays golf, so then that gets to the equality in my book. And that's where I go with the wellness approach again, just trying to get people out doing stuff.
But again, they have the health insurance that allows them to have their memberships at a reduced rate for a health club.
Just if you go to the health club.
And you have to go 20, or
Right. You don't get it if you go to the golf course.
No, but
Or
it's
you
a
don't
health,
get it
it's a
if-
benefit to an employee, believe me. And as an employee who has it, it's benefit.
Right. But
If the point is to be physically fit, that's what's offered.
that's offered through Blue Cross. That's not offered through New Prague.
As the city pays for the insurance.
Correct. But if Blue Cross would change that,
Then the employee compensation packages change, though.
no, it's still the same. They've only added that the last few years. That's not something that's been ongoing.
When you change an employee's benefit, though, it does change.
It's not a choice we make to
Right.
do anything with it. That's
We don't
part
tell
of-
Blue Cross that they have to offer it,
But it's part of the plan that we choose to
as of right now.
purchase,
So
yes.
if next year, to save money, you go to a different plan that doesn't offer it, it doesn't change the compensation of somebody.
Well, in the compensation plans, when you look at it, the background work is looking at the wages and the benefits of the employees.
Right,
Start
but,
changing the benefits, it also changes the compensation packages.
but the benefit, you're really not changing the benefit, because these people, you have to pay to get the benefit. You have to pay your $40 or your $60, and then they'll give you a credit off your next month's bill. That's how it works. You know, so not everyone's using it.
Well, now, but in comparison, not everyone's going to use this either.
Right,
I mean,
so
it's
what's the difference?
But the fact is, the insurance companies have proven, and they offer that because they see a reduction in claims.
It's perception.
So
When you
No,
have
I
the
I'm
think
sure that the big
It's more than perception,
insurance
Chuck.
Well, no,
companies
but when you have the
proven something.
drive-bys, people who come and do their toggle and get in their car and never step
Right,
into
there
the
can be
help club.
fraud in anything, you know, I mean, you
Just
can,
saying, we call them drive-bys.
right.
So can I amend Sean's motion or not?
Please do.
Or
Somebody
to
come up
include,
with something.
to include it under the wellness umbrella? I don't know that you had it under the wellness umbrella,
Not per se, no, I just,
under that theme.
okay, so it's 50% under the wellness?
Under the
Why don't you
wellness,
make the
and it
motion you want
includes
to?
the.
Mine apparently failed, so it doesn't matter, nobody
Well, no,
seconded it.
I'm about
so
to second
No,
it.
I spoke.
Withdraw mine.
It's fine.
And I'd like to include the pool pass at that 50% discount. And if we need to call it a pilot, we can call it a pilot to see how it goes, but I'd rather just do it as that.
Just the outdoor pool,
Just the
Outdoor
outdoor
pool.
pool, yeah, right.
because we don't own the indoor pool.
Correct.
That's the other issue too with it.
So if that's your motion, I'll
Well, you
second
just
it.
made it,
Withdrew
I'll
You would-
second.
Did you withdraw your motion?
I withdrew my motion, I'm gonna use, yeah, I'll use Jenna's and then I'll second Jenna's. She said it much more articulate than I did, so.
Which was what?
Didn't clarify, is it for all employees or just full-time employees?
That's your motion.
I'm gonna, you're right, it's for all employees.
And I'll still second that.
Okay, so Mike, you understand the motion made by Jenna?
I believe so.
Yeah, right.
Poor guy.
And Sean's got the second. So is there any other comments? And
One
Mike,
of the things
do
that we
me a
may have to
favor,
do to
read it
clar-
back to us so that before we vote, we all understand. what we're voting.
I'm trying to make notes here to make sense first, is dealing with that definitional aspect as to city employees, is because you've got some in the part-time versus full-time versus benefit offered versus non-benefit offered, that I think under the category that although the volunteer firemen, you know, they're not considered traditional employees, but they are paid for, besides the pension program that they receive, they also receive fire call and/or training pay that they get paid at. So technically, from a part-time employee perspective, they are considered part-time employees, but not full-time employees with any other benefits or anything of that nature. You've got employees that may work full-time in the summer at the golf course, but aren't full-time, that they're full-time seasonal, or you could have half-time, three-quarter time, or whatnot in that mix. So as I was just sitting here, I'm trying to make notes as to, we've got some definitional issues, and then what do we have to do to qualify it based on what's here to meet whatever standards, or what do we have to put forth to, because it says it's supposed to be in writing, should include clear wellness objectives and some of that. And I'm trying to think of what are we going to have to add to that to, if you do want to do it under a wellness, what are we going to have to meet, that we're going to have some descriptive language. So whatever action you're taking tonight would be hopefully to authorize us to put together or assemble something with some definitional clarity and direction that you can ultimately act on that will legally satisfy this perspective.
Correct.
Correct?
That's correct.
Sounds great, Mike.
With it being 50% a discount, I would include my motion to include all the part-time, including fire, because I think it will bring in more revenue, because I do think they're going outside, so that's why I would say it would include that bunch.
So if I can just clarify, as we're looking at this, I'm assuming you're talking about 50% off the golf green fees is what you're discounting.
In the pool, outdoor pool.
But I'm just on the golf side, is that the clarification is relative to a 50% discount on green fees,
Yes.
correct?
Yep. So
Not
if it's
in,
9 hole or
not
18
carts.
holes,
Not on carts or anything, because that costs an additional expense to rent those.
and
I
then
agree.
50% on the,
How are you going to identify the employees?
I'll get a wellness card.
That or either be a
Do they have
list.
employee IDs?
no.
Oh, they don't.
But they can,
Well, yes, we do. We have identification ID cards. So if we have employees that are out and they interact with any public and there's a question, they've got an ID that they can produce that way. But we don't necessarily have that for part-time golf employees or
I think if you
the
have a
firemen.
list.
But yeah, we can identify who's included in this category, so we can attempt to work in that. But you're talking the discount relative to the 9 or 18 hole green fees, and then you're talking the 50% discount to the daily admission to the swimming pool. Is that what you're talking about? So that we can then take a look at what employees would be included and what aspects would have to be undertaken to qualify it under a wellness program. So that we put together something there and obtain the concurrence of the city attorney to ensure that we've passed muster that way.
okay, so that's the motion made by Jenna, second by Sean Ryan. Does anyone have any questions or need any clarification what Mike just,
So you're not taking action to necessarily finally approve it tonight. You've developed a framework of
A
what you want us
framework,
to.
yes. That's all I was asking, yes.
and see if we can put it to bed next meeting? Is that okay?
Be great.
As long as Mike and the rest of the staff can
Right.
put this all together. That's the
We'll do
challenge.
it as quick as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to put this framework together.
We had
So-
the second on that? I did.
Sean did.
Oh, it was Jen and then Sean,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Remember Sean revamped his,
Yeah, mine wasn't,
wasn't going
it was a
anywhere.
little mess, a little messy.
Started it.
Yeah. So any other
Wanted to
comments?
focus, and Jenna did it. That was very nice, Jenna. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Nay.
Nay,
Okay,
and the reason I say nay is I want to wait and see what Mike comes up with.
so it passes 3-2.
Well, this is
Well, what
just
you're
a
doing is you're
framework.
asking us to develop the framework for the program using those elements.
Yes,
So you're not voting on the final motion, but you.
right, no,
you
but
do
he
want us-
just, he wants to see, so passes 3-2. Thank you, everyone. I know it's,
Jeez.
wasn't something that we wanted to spend that much time on. Okay, next, board and commission appointments. Well, as everyone saw in their memo, right now, I guess I'm going to recommend that Katie, I can't even say her last name.
Caligari?
Caligari as the youth to the park board, and Richard Jordan is the utility commissioner that is re-upping. And obviously, we still need applicants for the golf, 2 applicants there, and I guess we have 2 in the park board. One is someone who is moving out of the community, and I think Mike Stika his term is up. So I guess the first thing I'd like to do is make my recommendations for appointments to Katie Caligari and Richard Jordan on the Utility Commission. I guess I just need a motion to approve those.
I'll make a
That is a
motion
motion?
What?
that you made the
That is a
motion.
motion, or?
Oh, I just recommended.
That's your recommendation, excuse me.
Yeah, those are my recommendation usually, and then,
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I got a motion by Dave Bruising, second by Amy Jurek to approve the 2 people for the Park Youth, Katie Caligari and Utility Commissioner Richard Jordan. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay,
Chuck,
so then the second thing at hand.
the one on the park board, the second vacancy, I think is the youth member, is it not?
No, there's
There's
someone
another one.
moving out of town,
Okay.
and I can't remember, who's moving out of town?
Corey Magnuson's moving out of town.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He was actually a replacement for our other person that moved
Right.
out of town early.
right.
Yeah, so we got to replace Mike, and then Corey Magnuson is moving out of town, so we need someone to fill that chair. So I guess, Mike, we are going to
We'll have to re-advertise and all.
re-advertise. Have everyone put on your thinking caps and hit up? I know we had a couple other people involved, but they both were city employees, which kind of eliminated them. So, let's try to think of someone in the next, let's hopefully, with the new advertising and talking to people, see if we can get some names in early June and try to get these filled. I think Mike and I talked on the phone. It just seems sometimes these things go in waves. Sometimes you have too many applicants, and then the next time you can't find anyone. So, I think I think we all agree that these boards and commissions are very critical to help us, run the city, and we also realize it's a thankless job. But so if you have any ideas, and talk to people, let's see if we can get these things filled. Okay, next, consent agenda. Anything, questions, issues on any items in the consent agenda?
I just have a question on or not a question, a couple comments on the Heritage Trail information that was in there. I don't know if I need to pull it or if I can just,
No, go ahead.
ask a question. So I know that the city of Lonsdale is interested in this Heritage Trail. And LeSueur, when I was at a couple of LeSueur meetings, they had talked about having a trail go through there as tourism opportunities. So my question to you, Ken, is the SHIP program that the Scott County is available or that belongs to, and I would assume LeSueur is part of the statewide help and
There's a
improvement?
different one, yep, for that.
Can we all apply for their grants to do kind of some planning for it, for their active community section?
Potentially. Yeah, I don't know what funding they might have available. I think we'd have better luck with the LeSueur, and I forget, LeSueur, Wasika, Nickolay, I
Yeah.
think is the three that were involved in that one. Yeah, it's worth looking into.
And I'm wondering if, is Rice County do the SHIP program, do you know?
I don't know, but they would obviously be involved because of Lonsdale. So I can talk to the planning staff in Lonsdale.
I just know they were kind of, when I was meeting with them on a different topic, they were really eager to be a partner in anything that would happen with it. So I wonder if that wouldn't help get some of the planning of trails in general versus, and then trying to make the connection to Cedar as part of it.
Yep.
That's all I had.
Yeah, I know Gene and Tim, Gene Keough and Tim Rudd have talked about trying to get the check trail, connecting the three cities, but obviously that's the tough, not the whole, because we know how expensive that stuff can be.
Found it interesting information, though. It was,
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the consent items? If not, I guess I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second by Dave Brusick. If there's no other comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Next, miscellaneous. Will be a quick one here, huh? Ken, anything else?
No.
Okay. Patrick? Mary Jo? God darn. Mike?
No.
Sean?
Nope.
David?
Nope.
Amy?
I would like an update on the costs on the baseball field improvements as to where we were budgeted to where we're at yet.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay. Jenna?
I'm good.
I do not have anything, so I guess I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Dave Brusick. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, we're out of here. Thank you, everyone.